Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so welcome everyone. So for today's session on the basic writing skills, we'll like we discussed yesterday, we'll be discussing on the descriptive writing part, right? So we have looked at all the two things. Mostly, we've looked at for the previous session, we've looked at the development of paragraphs. What are the essential components that's required for you to write, an effective paragraph, a good paragraph, and also how you ensure that your information is placed um, in a logical fashion and also with a unified component in the paragraph. So we looked at the principles of unity and cohesion as well for ensuring these two things, right? And additionally, we also looked at what are the strategies that you can use to ensure that these principles of unity and cohesion are employed as you write these paragraphs, right? That's what we discussed yesterday, and our exercises were also based on that for the session. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to do some writing today. So I'll talk to you a little bit about descriptive writing. So I told you there are several kinds of paragraphs, right? So there could be descriptive paragraphs, there could be narrative paragraph, there could be in and out opinion paragraphs. So structurally talking, we'll mostly have the paragraphs divided into two types, right? One could be narrative and the other would be descriptive, right? What we often come in contact with in our day-to-day lives, and by day-to-day lives, I mean, when you read, like say, something something in a textbook, right? Or in our academic context, mostly, are descriptive paragraphs. Okay, even if it is say the catalog of or a brochure of a gadget that you have bought or an equipment or a house appliance that you have bought, right? All of them are mostly the kind of paragraphs you see in such documents are descriptive in nature, right? Your textbooks, your manuals, all of them contain what we call as descriptive paragraphs. On the other hand, what you read in newspapers, right? Anything that is a media chronicle or anything that is a part of a tabloid would have more of a narrative fashion, right? And narrative basically means that it's going to follow a chronological pattern of arrangement of events mostly, right? But in a descriptive paragraph, chronological ordering is not necessary. In narration, though, it is important, right? If we have to talk about what is exactly the difference between these two, in descriptive paragraphs, maintaining a temporal or a chronological order, giving a time frame reference is not an absolutely important factor, although you may include it if you wish to, right? If the topic at hand requires you to give it a spatial temporal arrangement, then you may do that. But then it's not an absolutely important feature. You can write a descriptive paragraph, you can write a description of an object, place, or a thing without even pointing to the time of sentence, right? However, in the case of narrative paragraphs, a lot of what you describe, a lot of what you write down in a narrative paragraph thrives on chronological ordering, right? It has a time frame reference, right? It needs to follow from the first to last. There has to be a beginning, what happened first to what happened last, right? And I'm talking about this in the professional context. When I mean narration, I don't mean storytelling in the creative sense, right? There probably, I think yesterday someone had a question on this. So there you have a little bit of a liberty with changing the orders, or taking a little, maybe being a little maverick about it. But when we talk about formal structures of formal writing, narration obviously takes, it follows that strict chronological order. So in description, however, we do not have that. A descriptive paragraph doesn't have to maintain it, right? So strictly speaking, that is a difference. However, remember that narrative paragraphs will also have elements of descriptions, and descriptions right, may have features of narration, not absolutely necessary, but it may, right? So descriptive writing, the reason why I chose descriptive writing or descriptive paragraph for our session is that this is the most basic kind of paragraph, right? Like yesterday I spoke to you about. As beginners of any language, if you're at a beginning stage of reading in any language, the first thing that you get to read when you're starting to read a longer format are mostly descriptive paragraphs, right? So if you've learned how to write a descriptive paragraph, then the other kind of paragraph, particularly narrative paragraph or any other sub forms of these, subtypes or classifications of this, is easier, right? So because they're built on this descriptive, the principles of descriptive writing. Okay, so that's the only reason why descriptive writing is chosen, because that's you get to learn the techniques more. You learn it better and you learn it fuller and in a wholesome way in descriptive forms than in the other forms. Okay, so we'll do quickly, not a lecture but a sort of mini lesson or some kind of a talk on how descriptive writing works, and then we'll dedicate most of our time into writing part, right? So I'll give you, you probably will be writing twice. So first it would be something like a free writing. And then once we have discussed about all of these things, I think you can then go on and start writing about, you can start improving on what you've already written, right? So I'll just introduce you to what descriptive writing means, the outline and all that. And then I'll take you to the activity sheet. So I'll give you like some 10-15 minutes. You can write down your free writing activity. The question will be displayed like yesterday. So once you've written that, then we'll go on to how description works, right? The details of it, and then you'll come back to the same exercise, and then you will try to find ways how you can improve it to make it a fuller descriptive paragraph, right? So that's what we are going to do. So what does descriptive writing mean, right? So when we talk about descriptive writing, there are three things that are important to most of what we write, whether that is descriptive or narrative. But what goes into each of these three sub sections is what makes descriptive different from narrative, right? So content, language, and style. So whether you're writing a descriptive paragraph or whether you're writing a narrative paragraph, there are three important points that you have to keep in mind as a writer. One is about the content, right? About the contents of what you're going to present in your writing. Second thing is the language, right? What language do you undertake? Now, this language will depend upon many other things, right? It depends whether you're writing formally. It depends on the register that you want to choose. Who your audience are, right? Are you writing to a common, ordinary, non-specialized audience, or are you writing to a specialized audience from your area, or are you writing it for children? Are you writing it for youth? Okay, or are you writing it for parents? Right, all kind of categories. So audience awareness is also very important before you start writing, right? So that you can gauge the kind of vocabulary and language that you can use for that, right? So language basically also means being aware of your audience. Okay. um, And then the last part is style. Again, style is something that is decided by the author based on the target audience, right? So, style is what? Style means what register, what type of approach should I take? Should I take a satirical approach? Should I take a more intellectual kind of an approach here, or should I keep it neutral, right? So, style and tone, all of this is dependent on what audience you have at hand, right? Like if you have, say, if your audience is mostly children, then satire doesn't work, or irony as a tone and style doesn't work in your writing, because children do not have the capacity to understand irony and satire, right? Because they're still, you need to have a wider sense of understanding of the subject at hand to know, to differentiate between what is being said in real time and what is meant to be satirical. So it is more for more mature audience, right? A more intellectual tone will also not appear for your child, your children, if your audience is it consists of children, right? Your intellectual tone will not also appeal to people if your audience is mostly ordinary, non-specialized audience, right? These kind of styles will only be suitable for a group of people who are specialized, who know the area, who have knowledge about what you're writing, so on and so forth, right? So these three part, irrespective of who your audience is, right? Irrespective of who you are writing for, or what kind of writing you're undertaking, whether descriptive or narrative, these three sub points, which is content, language, and style, has to be taken care of as you write. And each of it has to be further probed and then filtered for the kind of audience you're writing for, right? So that's the point. Now, for descriptive writing particularly, what would the content look like? If you're writing a descriptive paragraph, how is your content going to look like? It is going to mostly talk about either an object or a person or a place or a situation as it appeals to your senses, right? And by senses, what do we mean? Anything that you can see, anything that you can smell, taste, touch, feel. So when you're describing something, anything that appeals to your five senses is what is going to occupy most of the content of what you're going to write in it, right? So the idea is that through writing, you create a picturesque experience. What is a picturesque experience? That is, as you read the work, you're able to visualize what is being written, right? So your description should be so powerful and so adequate that the person who reads could almost visualize what is being written by the writer, right? So that is the success of a good description. So everything that you write as a content, uh, whether about an object, person, place, situation, incident, event, anything, right? It needs to be written in such a way that that everything that you write appeals to the five senses, right? Which basically means you're going to include these, various, contents that refer to senses in your writing as well, right? And as far as language is concerned, your word choice has to be specific to the topic, obviously. But more importantly, technically speaking, in descriptive writing, there will be heavy use of modifiers, right? So modifiers by I think by this time you should know you have done the first few modules of your English one. So we have mostly two kind of modifiers in English. One is the adverb and the other one is the adjective, right? So a permutation combination of various adjectives and adverbs, whether you use them as words or whether you use them as phrases or clauses in a sentence, both these modifiers will have to be abundantly used. Okay. So, are there other particles? Are there other segments in the language that can be used as modifiers? Definitely, right? But no matter how they look like, they'll boil down and they'll be put under these two classifications, right? Either they will be adjectives or they'll be adverbs, because both of them together covers most of what you can describe about something, right? Adjectives they can tell you about the when, who, what of everything. They basically describe the noun at hand. And adverbs can tell you about, it can show you different modalities in which a particular action has happened, right? It can tell you about the manner, it can talk about the place, it can talk about the direction, the time, the frequency, uh,
Excuse me, ma'am.
purpose. Yes.
Ma'am, I joined a little late. So could you just tell me like what you did before?
I think we'll rehash it at the end, right? So
Okay.
once you're writing, you can do that. If people who have joined late, please do not request me to go over again, because we've covered about 10 minutes. So either you watch it when you have the recording or just
No,
wait.
ma'am, is it the same slide?
Same slide. I don't understand your question.
Like when you were explaining, is it the same slide that you were in?
Yeah, I'm on the same slide. I did not change the
Okay.
slide as such.
Yeah, okay, ma'am. Then yeah, then I'm on the correct.
Sure. So both these modifiers, adjectives and adverbs, they will do the job for you, right? So they could either do it in the form of, like we spoke about signposting yesterday, right? So this modifiers are available to us not just as words, but they could be sometimes available as phrases or even as, larger components like a clause, like we saw yesterday. So they will together help you build the content, build the supply the language element required to build the content of your paragraph, right? So that's the point. Then comes the descriptive organization. So in a descriptive paragraph, what are the things that you can expect to see, and how do you usually, organize these things, right? So first of all, like we mentioned, people, place, things, right, or objects, or events, or situations you want. So mostly when you're describing, writing a descriptive paragraph, or you're writing descriptively, you're either writing about someone, something, or some place, or some event or situation, so on and so forth. So whatever you're writing about, the first thing you should do is, in writing, you don't immediately start writing, right? You don't take a pen and start writing a paragraph. You need to prepare for it, right? You need to accumulate all the resources, in the and by resources I mean all the linguistic resources that you require, right? So first thing is of course ideas. You brainstorm, you think about what I want to write about it, right? So jot it down, and then once you have the ideas ready, look for a suitable vocabulary that can convey whatever you want to talk about in an effective manner, right? And then last comes the outline. Once you have the ideas and you have the vocabulary for the writing figured out, right? And see, when I say figuring out the vocabulary, doesn't mean that you write down everything that you want to write in there. You only write the keywords, right? So, say if you're, for example, describing somebody, so you decide upon what do I want to write about them, first of all, right? So, my vocabulary has to be dependent on the ideas that I want to generate. So, say I just want to give a physical description of someone. Okay. Now I have to decide whether I'm going to talk about this person's physical description as a whole, or am I going to refer to, individual parts of this person, or say one particular part that I find attractive, or am I going to write about this person as a whole? Am I going to write more about this person's personality, or am I going to write about the person's physical appearance? Or am I going to write about my feelings for this person, right? All of this needs to be figured out while you are ideating or brainstorming. And once you're done that, once you have key points in there, then you look for vocabulary that is suitable to fit those ideas, right? So that way you can keep your vocabulary set limited instead of, straight away, starting to write and then you do not even know what to write next, right? So follow these steps. First ideate, then decide upon the vocabulary that you want to choose, and then go to the outline. Now, outline, how does the outline of a descriptive paragraph look? Very similar to how any ordinary paragraph will look, right? So all the essential components that we require to build a paragraph is applicable to a descriptive paragraph also, right? What are these components? The topic sentence, the supporting sentences, and the concluding sentence. All you're going to do is whatever idea that you have collected and whatever vocabulary that you have collected in order to fit this ideas into words, all of them will have to be arranged in the same pattern, in the same order in your um, actual paragraph under the headings of topic sentence, supporting sentence, and concluding sentence. Now, on the screen, you have an outline. So I have put down some points there. So every time it doesn't have to look like this. So for example, look at the topic sentence part, right? The first point, introduce the object, place, or person. Of course, that is important. But the second thing, writer's feeling or opinion. This is not always necessary, right? So if you're not writing about the person's, your opinion or your feeling about the person, you're simply going to describe something upon their personality or something about an event that you've met it, then that particular line changes according to the writer's discretion, right? Say, I don't want to talk about feelings at all. That's okay, right? You can replace it with something else that you want to write about them. But whatever you are writing about them, that needs to be supported and that needs to be further elaborated or proven or explained or described in the supporting sentences, right? That's the only condition. So it's not like, every time you write a descriptive paragraph about an object, place, or person, the second line has to be about it, about your feeling or opinion. It can differ based on what you choose to write, right? But whatever your second this thing is, that is going to form the main idea of your paragraph, like I told you. So your supporting sentences will have to give details that will establish the claim that you make in that. Okay. So supporting sentences generally these are not in order. Okay, so what I mean to say in the slide is that generally the supporting sentences for descriptive paragraphs are either they look like either of the three that you see there. So either they give you background information, they give you descriptive details, more details about the description, and sometimes maybe all the three, right? So you either have an option to just choose one or two, or you have an option to choose all the three. All of that depends on what you're writing about, right? So say your point is only to write about, say, to give a background to the people about how you decided to do a certain project, for example, right? You have to give a description on how, write a descriptive paragraph, or most often than not in applications and all, for admissions and for grants and funds and all that, they ask you. to explain your project, right? Or give them the background or your motivation to do a certain project. So in such descriptive paragraphs, you probably only decide to give a background information, and then you reserve the descriptive details for the further paragraphs. So in such case, the descriptive paragraph will only have information on background information. But say if they are asking you to put all of this together just in one paragraph, they are not looking for a reflective essay or an SOP from your side. They simply want to know it in, like, say, 200 to 300 words, why you're doing what you're doing, right? Or what is the background, what's the motivation that led to it. Like some leadership scholarships like Chevening and all, they just ask you to write just 250 words each. Okay. The questions look like you can write pages on that, but then they only give you space to write 250 words. So in such cases, what happens? A lot of people, what they do is they'll fit in all the three together into uh, that one paragraph. But in such paragraphs, more than descriptive, your capability to write a descriptive paragraph, there is something else that is necessary. That's not within the scope of our workshops. I'm not discussing. We call it concise writing, right? So you should have the ability to fit all of these descriptions into 250, 300 words. That is an advanced skill. Writing concisely is a more advanced skill in writing. That comes to people who are who practice writing and who write more, who read more. So we're not going to look at that part since it's not a part of our workshop. We're not planning to cover that for this workshop. But just for your information, I'm just giving you different ways in which, the descriptive paragraphs are written. So either they just go for that one piece of thing, or they push everything together into one and say. Still staying on the topic, okay? The topic or the idea doesn't deflect, but information about it could be either represented singly or just as one thing, or with other additions like descriptive details and more. Okay. And some descriptive paragraphs will only have descriptive details, like from top to bottom, all the 6, 7 sentences will just give you descriptions of the thing or the person or object at hand, right? So there are various types of, and these kind of paragraphs are more common in textbooks or even in magazines. If you have seen maybe on a train or a flight, there are these film magazines and this fashion magazines. If you look at those kind of the ads or the articles that are published on them, you will see that they're mostly from top to bottom descriptive, right? They keep writing about the same product or the same personality over and over. I mean, some details or descriptions about them over and over again. They do not give you any other critical content to read, right? So yeah, these are different types of paragraphs or different places where you can locate such paragraphs. And then concluding sentence, which is obviously the last part of the last component in any paragraph. You restate the topic sentence. Again, this is open to the writer's discretion. If it is a smaller paragraph, you basically just restate the claim that is made in the topic sentence. Something similar to what we saw in that what was that other paragraph that we looked at, the color blue. Remember this one? So I love the color blue. Undoubtedly it is a magical color that I adore. Okay, so something along that line you can bind up for a standalone paragraph in a descriptive sense. But if it is of course a longer essay, then you don't have to have a concluding sentence after every paragraph, right? This thing I think we discussed yesterday. And for the development of ideas within each of these, right, and particularly within the supporting sentences part, what are you going to use for the language support? For word choice, you're going to use a lot of modifiers, right? Namely, adjectives and adverbs. Okay. So let's do one thing. I'll send the link for that exercise that we're doing yesterday. So I'll share the same thing with you again. Give students link. I'll give you access to that link since I think you may not have it for today's class. So what you can do is you can join that link again, and then there's a free writing activity. Okay. Please see your chat box for the link. Tanisha, you will get the recording of the session maybe by the end of the week. Okay. So we do not upload unless the sessions are entirely over. So maybe by the end of it, you can check if any. Okay, so the link is pasted in your chat. You can join in the classroom through it. And it's student based, so you should be able to go yourself even if I'm not changing. Do you see activity 3 free writing task? Yes, no?
No, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, no?
No,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So if you're not able to see, please rejoin. Okay. Exit and then
Okay.
follow the link again. Okay. So you also have the space
Here.
to write, right? So it says choose
And
one of the following topics and write a paragraph on it. Follow the checklist given below as you write. So for the time being, we are using only two checklists, which is structure of a paragraph, topic sentence, supporting sentences, and concluding sentence, right? So you'll ensure that all the components are there. And then unity and cohesion, keywords, transition, signposts. You have two topics there, a valuable possession and then a memorable trip. You can choose one among the two and start writing. Don't write very big paragraphs. Keep it short. Don't go beyond, say, 5 sentences. So, topic sentence plus 3 or 4 supporting sentence. And if you wish, you may write a concluding sentence or you may not. I'm leaving that option open to you. But don't write more than 5, 6 sentences. Okay. So it's 6 now. Maybe by 6:15, if you can finish the writing, it would be nice so that I can show you the other part. Has everyone been able to join the link?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If anyone's facing any difficulty, please let me know.
Ma'am, around
And
how
I
many
now
words we
help
have to
in the
write?
lesson moment. Words I do not know, but don't write more than 6 sentences. Okay. Minimum 5, maximum 6. Okay. Arumugam Karthikeyan. Let me you try this link again. Soumya Joy, you have a question?
And I am not able to see the activity.
I've pinned the link now. Can you please try again?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
What's this unity and cohesion?
Did you not attend yesterday's class?
No, ma'am.
Okay, then don't bother with it. You have an explanation given keywords, transition, and signposts. Um, you let it be. Don't think too much about it. Just write. That's all.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Those of you who haven't attended yesterday's class and you don't understand what is on your screen, it's all right. Don't bother with that, but just write that paragraph. Okay, that should be more than enough. We'll discuss it while we look at your answers and we discuss on the other parts of descriptive writing. Those of you who have joined the meeting, please use the link and start writing as well, okay? Because I see that there are about how many people? 39. That is 38 or so, excluding me. So don't just wait for the answers to be discussed. If you have joined just now, I've pinned the link for you. Please join in and write in, give in your responses. Otherwise, it's not useful. It's a workshop, so you're required to do some writing, right?
Done, ma'am.
Okay, we'll wait until the others are done. So I said 6:15. So we'll start discussing on this at 15. Right? I just there's nothing much left now. I'll show you a few examples for you to understand how you can improve upon whatever you've written when you're describing. You need to have a very strong grasp of how modifiers are used in a sentence, right? And some ideas about how you can add details, right? So, Arumugam, are you able to now see the questions? Okay, he's not on call. It's one single paragraph, okay? Keep that in mind. Don't split it into 2, 3 different paragraphs. You're only looking at the development of one paragraph. That's all. Because it's a very it's a very rudimentary topic. So while you can write more about it, that's one thing. But we're only looking at the development of a small paragraph, right? So we'll learn the technique in this one, and then of course, you can apply it to any larger formats of writing that you want. Write about what you're asked to write. Okay, I see somebody writing about the paragraph writing. You're supposed to choose the one of the topics and then write on that, not on the paragraph writing itself. I can see your responses. Okay, 3 more minutes, and I think you can wind up. Please don't send me ChatGPT generated things, okay? No AI generated things. That will completely defeat the purpose of the activity. You don't have to submit anything. These are all auto submitted. So I'll get the response at my end later on. So don't look for any submit button or anything, okay?
Ma'am, is there any limit of lines or something?
Yes, yes. I did say minimum 5, maximum 6.
Okay.
Hmm. Okay. Almost 6:15. Let's do one thing. You can, if you're not done, it's all right. We'll anyway be coming back to this one for you to make edits and then changes. We'll just take a look at the remaining sections. Basically, the different sections of descriptions on people, place, and things, right? So we won't have anything more as a mini lesson for this one. So once we're done with that, we'll come back and see how you improve on these things, right? So you can stop writing for the time being, and we can look at how that description happens for these 3 different categories. So when you're describing people, now see, most of what we're going to say, remember that this is a basic structure, right? So when you look at a real paragraph, say maybe written by an author, or even in your situation, right? It does not, it will not look exactly the same as what the structure looks like, right? It's not going to be a clone of the structure. Like I was telling one of our friends yesterday that everything will not. What we're trying to do through the workshop is to show you a skeletal and framework of how things can be put together. Now, what you do with each section, how you add flavors to it is of course an individual thing, right? So that is not again for this class. That would be done in a class or in a workshop that addresses how to make your writing creative, right? So that's not the point here. The point here is that we introduce you to the basic framework and the skeletal, right? So, which is why it's not like, sentence number one is this, sentence number two is something else, sentence number three. So these are tentative structures, right? So this is a template that you can use to write your paragraph. Of course, you are free to include more relevant details and more relevant, information as you find okay and as you find is applicable to your writing. So just take all what I'm going to say in that sense. Do not think that okay, this is the exact format in which I should be writing my description. But ensure that this framework exists in your description, no matter what else you are going to do with your paragraph or your write-up. Ensure that it is following this structure. Okay, that these elements that I'm going to discuss is found, can be checked in your writing, no matter what other things you're adding to it. Okay, that's all. So when describing people, you can begin with, right, as a framework, you can begin with talking about the appearances. So how does he or she or it look like, right? And this can be done, like I was talking a few minutes ago. You can either do that by a reference to the whole of the person or the parts, right? So what do I mean? You can talk about the general physical appearance of someone, which we called as the build or physique, right? So you can talk about that in general, or you can talk about, singular aspects of what forms the person's build or physical appearance, right? So you either talk about the build or the physical appearance, or you choose to write about the height of the person, or you try to describe the hair of the person or other features like eye, face, nose, skin, so on and so forth, right? So as a writer, this is entirely your choice whether you want to write it as a wholesome thing or you want to write it more like a description of various physical parts, right? So look at these examples. These are few example sentences based on what we just spoke, what we have just discussed. Just read through these sentences. The first one, this is about build. Yeah, this are sample sentences. So she had a slender, almost fragile frame, as if a strong wind might carry her away. Right now, the second part of it, as if a strong wind might carry her away. Right. This is something that is called as a creative addition to your writing. This will differ based on the writer's creative ability and how much of an exposure you have to the language in question. Depends on the structure, the exposure to both the creative structures in the language as well as the grammatical structures, right? So that part is not an essential part in that sentence. However, that is what will give the writing a more realistic feel, right? That part will have to be developed by the writer through more reading and through more writing, right? We are more interested in discussing with you the first part, which is she had a slender, almost fragile frame. Do you see that? So, what are the adjectives that you can pick out which talks about build here? In that only in that part, okay, not the latter half, as if a strong wind might carry her away. Only the first part. She had a slender, almost fragile frame. So both the adjectives are talking about one thing, which is the physique or build frame, right? Slender and fragile. Okay. So your skeletal sentence to write about something like a build will look like this, and rest of the things is something that you'll add based on your creative ability. You understand this thing? Any questions here?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And then look at the second sentence, the same thing. He was broad shouldered and muscular, the kind of build that came from years of manual work. So, again, the second part of it is something that is a brief additional information added from the author's side. But the highlighted information or the necessary information that is required to fulfill the skeletal of your descriptive writing on someone's build would be the first part, is broad shouldered and muscular. Okay. Now, for height, she was petite, barely reaching 5 feet, but carried herself with such confidence that she seemed tall. Again, same. The structures are all purposefully put in that way so that you can see the difference between what is a part of the skeletal of the descriptive writing and what is something that you add from your part, right, based on your discretion. Then he towered above everyone else in the room, his head nearly brushing the door frame. Okay. For hair, her hair was a cascade of golden curls that caught the afternoon sunlight. His jet black hair. Now, there are several adjectives that are associated with each of these, right? To describe someone's height and someone's hair or build, so on and so forth. Eyes, face, no skin. The other features here, her hazel eyes. So again, this is a description of the eyes. And you could have several, depending on the features, you can change it as you wish. But this is a skeletal part. If you're talking about the eyes, then you have to give in some descriptive words which will talk about the physical appearance of the eye. Okay, something that will talk about the physical actual appearance of the hair, the face, the nose, skin, hands, so on and so forth. Okay, everything else is just an addition. Okay, so see this thing: hazel eyes, angular face, sharp cheekbones, uh, you know, um, a sharp jawline, then small upturned nose, okay, sun-browned skin, right? Small, strong, calloused hands, right? Thin lips, curled lips, right? These are all essential descriptions while you are describing the physical appearance of a person, right? Or any physical appearance sense at hand, right? Other parts you put it based on what context you want to give it, right? So what becomes important here is that you need to be aware of the various adjectives, various modifiers that are associated with these different features, right? So a knowledge of that is going to be very important for you to give a fuller and wholesome description of the person at hand, right? Then, once the first part, so we are still talking about the first point here. What does he or she look like? So, this is about the physical appearance, right? Once the physical appearance part for the description is done, the second thing that you're going to talk about is what is the person like? So, what do you like about them? So, when you talk about what do you like about them, again, you're going to use adjectives, which we particularly call as the positive adjectives, right? So, what do you like about them? You're going to fill in the description using positive adjectives. What do you not like about them? Optional. If you wish to write it, you can. If you're writing more negatively, then of course, second will be the only thing on your hand. Or you could, depending on what you're writing, what you want to write, you can use both as well. So there's no hard and fast rules when it comes to what goes in there, right? So either you answer both first and second, or you choose to answer only one among the two. That's all all your choice. And then the third part is to add further details about what you have written, right? So I'll come back to the adjective order, but I'll show you examples for this again. So what is the person like, right? What do you like about them? Positive adjectives. So look at few examples of how you use positive adjectives, right? She is warm-hearted, always ready to help others without expecting anything in return. So warm-hearted is your catch here. Okay. He's dependable. Dependable is your second catch, right? She's imaginative. So all of these words are something that we use to talk about your likes and dislikes of a person. Okay. Particularly likes in this case. So all of them would be classified as positive adjectives. So there's a few examples. Of course, there's the list is non-exhaustive. Um, it's just that you need to learn the use of these adjectives, right? Now, negative adjectives example. Now, when you're using negative adjectives, remember, particularly if you're writing for formal spaces, even if you want to write something negative, right, you need to make sure that you're writing it using an indirect language and that you're not being very direct about what you want to say. So these are examples of how you use negative adjectives using indirect language. So be watch it a little carefully. Sometimes he can be a little impatient when things don't go his way, right? So this is not an explicitly negative adjective, but what you're trying to convey is a negative, negative characteristic of the person, but in a very indirect sense, right? It's not like in your face kind of a negative description. So she tends to be a bit forgetful, especially with small details. Yes.
And sometimes
Did anyone
it
have a
will be
question?
or he. Yeah, it's an
Sorry.
in the second line. Sometimes in the
Huh.
second line, see written here he can be a little impatient. It
Huh.
should be she can be or
No, no, no. They are not. These are not sentences that are from one paragraph or they are not related to each other. These are individual sentences just to give you examples of how it is done. They're not part of a paragraph. Okay.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter if it is he or she. Okay. So she tends to be a bit forgetful, especially with small details. That's another way of, saying that someone actually, is um, often forgets things. So maybe the problem is that they often forget things, but then indirect language will not, mention it that way. It will still try to, put it in a way that it is less consequential, right? Okay. At times, third one, at times he can come across as overly critical, even when he means well. Okay. She has a tendency to dominate conversations without realizing it. So either you use a softened version of the word, or you use other expressions to make it look like, make it a little bit softened at its end. Okay. But can you use direct language? Oh, yes, right. So if you look at some kind of creative um, writing, then there, this is usually a space where there is no bar on, how you write, right? So the writer has full liberty, full freedom on what kind of expressions they want to use. So indirect language is usually when you're writing these things in a formal way, right? So I didn't include the example of that because I think it is obvious to everybody. But indirect language, some people may not know how to use it. So I just wanted to show you examples. Okay. And then the add details part. So when you're adding details, you're either most of the times giving reasons or you're giving examples. Adding details means either giving reasons or giving, some examples, or, narrating some kind of a personal anecdote, or, anything can go into the add details part. Or if you think that your description is fuller in the first and second question and you don't want to add anything more, you can skip that as well. It all depends on the, depends on what you want to write about. Okay. Or how much you want to write about it, how much space is allowed to you to write, right? So some examples here. I'm not going to read upon all that. These are ways in which you can add details to what you're writing, right? So reasons and examples. Okay. Uh, Now, did I miss something? Yeah, this thing. So when you're describing people, if if you're expected to elaborate it a little more, then some of the questions or some of the points that you can consider to elaborate upon the writing would be some of these, right? So how do you know the person? Talk about the relationship that you share with that person, or where did you meet, right? How long have you known each other? These are all, remember, additional details, right? These are all questions or points that you can explore only if you're asked to elaborate upon, right? Otherwise, we are good with the first two parts, right? Which is where you talk about the physical appearance and about your negative or positive feelings towards the person and the associated details. Okay, that will give you a fuller descriptive paragraph. Now, I think in this slide you saw something like the adjective order, right? So when you are describing something, whether that's a place, person, or thing, you are allowed to use more than one adjective to talk about, that particular person, place, or thing. But when you do that, you have to ensure that the adjectives follow a certain order, right? So if first in the adjective order comes the opinion adjectives, followed by the words that show size adjectives, then followed by adjectives that show physical quality, followed by the adjectives that show shape, then age, then origin, material, type, and purpose. So this is the order that you follow from first to last, okay, with the first one being opinion and the last one being purpose, right? So just to demonstrate, let's do a quick activity. You don't have to go to the files there. I'm just going to give you a few words here in the chat. Tell me how you're going to organize this in the right order. Okay. So let's say I have words like pot. I have um, words like shind, emerald, studded, big, then beautiful. Okay. Look at your chat. I have left you a few words there. So, pot, ancient, emerald studded, big, beautiful. So, you have that order on the screen. Uh, Based on that, can you tell me what will be the right way to write, right way to describe the pot? What is the right order of the adjective? I'll give you the answer, but I want you to try before. You have pot, ancient, emerald studded, big and beautiful.
But and
Hmm.
can you explain what inland is studded?
Yeah, your voice. Okay, Vanshi, your voice is breaking. Maybe you can reply in the chat.
Am I audible, ma'am, now?
You're audible now.
I'm confused about the word emerald and studded.
No, that's a single word. It's emerald studded, which is why there's a hyphen in between, right? Emerald studded.
Okay.
Yeah, Gurkirat, you have a question?
No,
You're
I'm
going to
ready.
give the answer. Answer, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Big, beautiful Asian pot, emerald studded.
Okay. All right. Someone else has also responded. Others?
Ma'am, could it be ancient or emerald studded big beautiful?
Um, See, at this point, I can only say one thing that we are describing the pot. So obviously, pot has to come at the end.
Okay.
Hmm.
It can be big, beautiful, ancient, pot, emerald studded.
Emerald studded is also an adjective. You have to find out what category it fits.
Okay. Is a physical quality, emerald studded.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
What will classify as physical quality? Physical quality would be what?
With a material type purpose.
Ah, no. Physical quality is different from material. Material would be, something like wooden, metallic, etc. But what is physical quality? When I ask you to describe the physical qualities, what are the words that comes to you?
Big, ma'am, big. Big is a physical quality.
Big, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so anything that is size, shape, weight, texture, color, right? Anything can be physical quality. But within physical quality itself, you have, okay, so I'll do one thing. If that is confusing, what I can do is, let's take that out because size, shape, color, and all, anything, anyway, that will be a part of physical quality. So see if you can do it now. Someone has raised the hand. Who is that? Dhruvan.
Ma'am, ancient is a quality, no?
Ancient is it a quality? I mean, you tell me. It's
Okay,
not.
so
Ancient is not. Joshika.
Ma'am, can it
Joshika
be
or
emerald
Yoshika?
studded?
What's your name?
Joshika.
Joshika. Okay.
Emerald studded big, beautiful ancient pot.
Emerald studded, big, beautiful. Shinpot, no.
Ancient pot.
No, no. This is Vivash, right? Vivash Chandra. Go
Yes,
ahead. Yeah.
ma'am, it could be big, big, beautiful emerald studded ancient pot.
Big, beautiful, emerald studded ancient pot. Hmm. You're right mostly, but it has to be a little more correct.
Ma'am, can it be a big, beautiful ancient pot, emerald studded?
No, emerald studded cannot come at the end. That's what I'm saying. We are describing a
Okay.
noun, so noun has to come at the end, right?
Ma'am, then it would be like ancient, big, beautiful emerald studded pot.
Mm. Most of you are
Ma'am,
not being able to grasp one
ma'am, can
thing.
it be
Ah.
big, beautiful, ancient, emerald-studded?
Hmm. Again, there is one thing that is going wrong.
Ma'am, or can it be like big, beautiful, emerald-studded, ancient pot?
Okay, try.
Beautiful, big, emerald studded ancient pot.
Mm. Okay. Finally, there is someone who has put uh, the beautiful thing first, right? So, what is beautiful?
It's the opinion.
It's the opinion, right? Beautiful is the opinion, and then followed by beautiful in the order you have size. So, what word do you have for size here?
Big.
Big.
Big, right? So it's beautiful, big, and then what follows after that?
Shape.
Shape. Do we have shape here? We don't have a shape here, so we skip that, right? Nothing. No word denotes the shape. Do we have
Origin.
age here?
No.
No. Followed by shape is the age.
Age
Do you
also.
have? Huh. Age we have. What is age? Ancient. So age is what? Old, new, ancient, modern, right? These are words that represent uh, age adjectives. So we have ancient. So you have beautiful, big, ancient, right? They're all in order. Now you're left with only emerald studded, right? It's more like what you call as a,
Material type.
yeah, it is material, but it's more like a descriptive compound, right? So we cannot really fit them into any of what we have here. It's like more like a descriptive qualifier. So that way, if you have something like that in the description, then that particular compound stays closer to the noun. Okay. So then it is beautiful, big, ancient, emerald studded pot. Okay. So that would be your answer. Why is my cursor not moving? Okay. Right? So what's your answer? Beautiful,
Ma'am,
big,
what?
ancient, emerald studded pot.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Okay. That's your answer. Yeah, go ahead, Manshi.
Ma'am, what kind of adjective is it is
What kind of adjective is? Manshi, your voice is
pot
breaking. You
pot?
can send me a text message or something. Pot. What is pot? It's not an adjective. Pot is a noun, no? We are describing the pot. All the other
Yes.
words are descriptive words for qualifying the pot. Okay. Right. So we didn't have other words for shape and origin and material and all that. If they are there, they need to follow this order, right? In case you have it. So this is how you. This is. Can I give you more example? Okay, we can maybe give one more thing. Um, let's say. Let's say. Hmm, uh, um, lovely. Okay. Then tail long more thing. What is a noun that I can use? Tail. Okay, let's say this. Okay, see these words. So you have modern, you have lovely, you have silk, you have long, and then there's scarf.
Ma'am,
Yes,
ma'am,
Debash.
ma'am, lovely modern
And it
silk
could be
scarf.
lovely long modern silk scarf.
I didn't hear both of you. There were two people speaking. Vivash, you say? What were you saying?
Uh, Actually, ma'am, a lovely long modern silk scarf.
Lovely,
Long
long,
modern silk scarf.
modern silk scarf. Yeah, correct. That's right. So lovely is opinion. Yeah, a lot of you are giving me the answer. You're all right. Lovely is your opinion. Long is the size. Modern is the age. Silk is the material. And then the noun, right? So this is how, if you're clubbing adjectives together, you have to ensure that you write them in order, right? Do not write it in whatever order you want. That would be incorrect to do that. Okay. So that is one part that you need to keep in mind while whether you're describing place, people, or things. So that is that. Now we look at quickly things and object. It's the same thing. Even for things or object, you're going to do the same thing. Sorry, things, object, or even places, right? So the first thing is always appearance. Remember, with any description, because we spoke about the content part and said that we need to appeal to the sense of the people. So physical appearance is what is going to be mostly appealing. All your senses are going to be active, looking at the appearance part, right? So size, shape, color of everything that is applicable needs to be done for description of all the three, whether people or things or place, right? So second thing, in the case of object, once the appearance part is described about, you can talk about the function. Since we are talking about an object, right? You wrote like a paragraph on valuable possession. So you can write about what is it used for, right? The function of it. And then uh, everything else about the material or the weight or the texture, price, cost, all of them can be the additional details. Now, similarly, like you saw in the case of people, what you'll also talk about in the case of things and objects is, or what options you also have, is to talk about the feelings, right? What you think about it, what your feelings about it. So again, we'll make use of the negative, positive adjectives, right? That can also remain same for things, object, and places also. So appearance and likes and dislike preferences will remain common for all the three. In the case of object, additionally, what you will write is you'll write about the function of the object or thing at hand. And additional details can include material, weight, texture, so on and so forth, whatever you wish to add. Okay. Uh, However, in the case of places, what would happen is a little different. So again, you'll write about the appearance, right? You'll also write about what you feel about the place, that is included in the slide. Um, but when you're writing about the appearance part for describing places, you will have to be a little more descriptive, right? So you have to at least write about the space and settings. So you'll talk about the physical appearance, within which you'll talk about the space and settings of the place, talk about the if size and shape is applicable, you talk about that. If not, you talk about the environment of the place in question. You also include for description the time, which includes the year, month, or season that you have visited the place, so on and so forth. And then about people and things that you saw in the place, right? So describing places in that way is some kind, in sense a triple description. So you're not only describing the place, but you're also describing both people and things also in that case, right? When you're describing places. So this is one technique that you can use to expand the description of places, right? Since place is a vast, it is a spatial thing. We have the, we have the opportunity to write even about the people and things that you see there. So that also goes into the description part. Okay. So space and settings, time, people, and things. These three parts need to be included in the physical appearance description of the places. And then, of course, like the other, description, you also include your negative bar positive feelings about the place, and then additional details of, say, who you met there or why it was more important for you, or how it was special for you. Anything else that you think is important or relevant to what you're writing. Okay. So we look at a few examples. So this is for objects. What does it look like? Appearance, size, shape, color. The vase is tall and slender, shaped like a teardrop with a glossy turquoise glaze. Okay. So this, when you mean description, this is not your ordinary, oh, this is a black coat or that's a white pen. You need to add a little more flavor, little more description, more accurate descriptions to what you're writing. That is what makes it makes the description fuller. So it's not your ordinary description. So which means you will have to research a bit through your these days internet, if not in our times mostly dictionary, right? You need to look for that exact set of words which can convey your what you're trying to talk about the object. So tall, slender, teardrop shaped, glossy turquoise glaze, these are all good adjectives that you can use to talk about size, shape, color. Then as much as the function is concerned, the vase is used for holding flowers or as a decorative piece on a table. The watch is used for telling time, but also as a stylish accessory, right? This is to add more details to your object. Then additional details, material, weight, texture, price, cost, right? I don't think I have to discuss that thing. Of course, you can understand what it is. Fine ceramic, lightweight, smooth finish, stainless steel, genuine leather, slightly heavy. Okay, all of these are descriptions associated with the additional details of material, weight, texture. Then for describing places, space and settings, the first part of the description, the market covers an entire city block with narrow lanes crisscrossing like a maze. So size, shape, and environment. Okay. The park is oval shaped, surrounded by tall leafy trees forming a natural wall. School building stands 3 stories high, okay, painted bright yellow with wide verandas, right? Space and settings. Then time in spring, okay, that I think is understood, right? Year, month, season. In spring, garden bursts into color with tulips and daffodils swaying in the breeze. During the monsoon months, river swells and rushes past the town in muddy torrents. In December, right? So the first one is an example of a season. Second one again season, but mostly the monsoon months, the reference. And the last one is that of the time of the year with reference to month. Okay. Then feelings about the place, it's similar to what we discussed for the description of objects. So deep sense of calm in the first sentence. I feel a deep sense of calm. The place, second sentence, the place feels alive, buzzing with energy, excited, right? There's a nostalgic warmth, okay, reminding me of childhood visits with my parents. So you can combine, make combinations of these modifiers and write this. Additional details, anything that you think will fit in that, right? Okay. So this is about how you add the description and some ideas on how your descriptions can be made fuller. Remember, the only thing we are doing is we are only discussing, pointers under each of the description for people, place, and thing to how you can make it fuller. But the making it fuller part entirely depends on how you're using the adjectives, right? So you need to be ready with when you're preparing the outline for that paragraph. Remember, we spoke about brainstorming vocabulary and then outline, right? So your vocabulary part should at least partially figure out all these things that you want to write, right? Then you can write a more smoother paragraph. And then once you're written, of course, the most important part is no writing is complete without revision. So whatever you write, at least 2 or 3 times you need to revise upon that draft to make it effective, right? So this is where you're going to even out the relevant details. You think that this is not really adding, or a particular sentence, like, we did that activity yesterday. You see that sentence is not tying up to the rest of the sentences and the paragraph at all. You remove it or you modify it to suit it, right? And see if your adjectives are all in place. Have you used a right choice of the adjective? Is it something that is not understandable to your audience? Will your audience not understand it? Do you have children as your audience, right? So do you have to change the description and the adjective to fit what children will understand, right? All of this details, this editing part will have to be done once you're written with the framework, right? Okay, so that's all for the class. Now, what I'll do is I'll take you back to the, activity that you did, right? So you wrote something. Now, all I want you to do is look at what you have written and see if you can make it fuller. Can you make the description fuller? or at least check if whatever you want to say has been conveyed properly in your paragraph, right? If not, think about what additional modifiers that uh, modifiers you can use to make it better, right? So have I taken a look at your responses? Not all of them, but some of them, because there were quite a lot of responses. So meanwhile you do it, I'll simultaneously look at your responses, and I don't have your names, so you know what you have written. So when I give you, when I read and tell you something, you take it as your feedback for what you have written. Okay. So we won't have time to look at everything, but I'll just make some random selections of what you've written. And whatever I'm going to say is going to be applicable to all of you, right? If you have also, if you think that you have also done the same kind of errors, then you can make a note of that. For someone with a very long paragraph, I'll go for the smaller ones so that I can include more of them. But meanwhile, you please work on your responses. Read it yourself and see what more you can add into it, particularly the modifiers, because that's what helps in description. And see if you have used ordinary, um, adjectives. So this is one thing that I wanted to tell again. So, stay away from using very common kind of descriptions, right? So I don't know if it was in this or some other. Oh, hopefully this, not this then. Don't seem to have that slide here. Not this. Okay, while you work on that, let me, this one thing that I wanted to show you, but I want to have examples. I'll just check that slide if I have it. You please keep working on what you're doing. Okay, I'm unable to locate the. No, it's not about me commenting on your responses. You should be able to do that on your own, right? If you look at the responses, you should know where is it lacking, right? Have I provided adequate description, right? Recordings, you will find it in the same place where you find the other recordings in your, what is that, supplementary, sorry, in the same place as your academic calendar, right? So the playlist link would be provided there itself. So it will be available as a YouTube playlist link, like your other sessions. But please do not send requests to the recording. You know, they will not entertain that. Just wait till the end of the weekend, end of the week, that is. Everything would be uploaded by then. Yeah, so what I was talking about is I'm unfortunately not able to find a link to that file. So when you're writing, there's one more thing that you need to take care of, right? So there are something that we call as vague expressions, or maybe you can also say, those expressions that are repeated very often. So you usually use those phrases or words when you cannot find the right word, right? So words like very, right? Very, really, right? We have come across these, right? Very sad, very happy. So very, really, or even words like thing, right? You don't know the exact name of the entity in question, and then you end up saying thing. So while in conversation, some of it would be, entertained. In writing, this kind of an approach is not at all, more than allowed. It doesn't look good, right? It makes your writing very weak and less impactful. So instead of saying, say, very sad and very happy, because it's not conveying the exact emotion, right? So for saying that someone is happy, there are very different set of words, right? So you can say someone is happy, you can say someone is excited, someone is elated, right? All of them convey separate meanings. They have different shades of, although all of them are telling you that someone is happy, they all have different shades of happiness with them. So choose words which communicate that, that particular expression exactly. Don't just mask it with very and really, really happy, very sad, right? They do not do the job. They do not communicate your expressions well. So very commonly used expressions include this very, really, just, ting, right? These are the ones which we very commonly see in writing, right? Mostly this very really ente, right? To keep in mind when you're writing, try and avoid anything like this, right? Make sure that you're using the exact expression that conveys that more to the writer. So I had a file with a list of examples. Unfortunately, I'm not able to locate it on my system. What I'll do is when the slides are uploaded in the PDF, I'll attach that document as well so that you can take a look at it. So, so see, something like what just struck my eyes right now is something like amazing experience, right? Now, amazing experience is what this is a very general way of expressing something, right? So I really do not know what kind of experience it was. It's not descriptive enough, right? It uses an adjective, yes, but then that adjective is a very generic adjective, right? So how amazing was it? So you have to find a word which will suitably explain what this experience was to the reader. As a reader, it's a little less impactful, little weakening, and little, to put it plainly across, we use the word boring, right? So I read this and I find this boring because I'm not able to visualize. When you say amazing experience, I, as a reader, I'm not getting enough uh, cues to visualize what is going on. And descriptive writing is all about helping the reader visualize, see it with you, right? As you see it, the writer. So ensure that all your adjectives do that job. While how your descriptive paragraph is different or more effective from someone who has written a paragraph with all the components in place is decided based on this. Yeah, your word choice and your style, everything is going to impact how well your paragraph is received. How, or not just paragraph, any write up that you compose, right? Oh, what is, okay. So that is one example. And as such, I don't see, probably these the people who submitted this have already left the call. So I don't see any activity going on in that. And then generally, I see that most of the write-ups haven't included enough modifiers to make it look better. See, this is exactly the same thing I was talking about. I go to Tirupati every year because I feel very happy. Okay. So very happy. You have to describe it fuller. You have to say why exactly. This is not a good enough, this is not a convincing reason for me as a reader to believe, why, as to why you're going to Tirupati every year, right? So that is one thing. Then let me just sift through. There are structural errors that I see, like, something like that day we had done too much fun. And it's not we had done too much fun, we had a lot of fun. Okay. Okay, I'm not commenting on the other kind of errors like missing subject and missing verb and all that. I think that much at least we should get it corrected, that right, all the different components of a sentence should be there, the subject, verb, object. So I'll not talk about those generic ones, but let me see if anything is specific to the descriptive writing as such. So something like this, right? So we took 3 hours. So we took 3 hours is what, again, it's a boring statement. As a descriptive writer, you should be able to narrate that, it should feel like how excruciating it was for you. Okay. If you meant that it was a long hour wait. So in this context, the person is basically writing that there was a long queue. Okay. And probably the family had to wait for about 3 hours to see their favorite deity. So instead of saying it took us 3 hours, you can make it more descriptive. You can add words which would help the reader feel how excruciatingly difficult it was for you to, stand in that queue. So explain the queue, how it was, the people around that, and the time again, all. So find the keywords surrounding that cue, and then describe based on how you felt about it, right? So otherwise, it's a plain sentence. It's like a matter of fact sentence. I waited for 3 hours. Okay, that's not interesting. That's not exciting for the reader. I'm heartfully thankful for all. Okay. So heartfully thankful, although this is not something that we say, I just want to make a comment on that as well. So word collocations, right? Please make use of a lot of word collocation. Now in word collocation, it is not just about using an adjective or an adverb, but using a combinations of both, right? Using graceful combinations of both. So like heartfully thankful. Although this is like a more like a personal coinage. I'm not going to comment on the rightness or wrongness of it. I would say it is okay to write like that. But look at that structure, right? A combination of both an adverb and an adjective. So this is a collocational pair between the adverb and adjective. So make use of a lot of collocations like this also. This is also helpful in adding descriptions. Okay. Then my face. We went for a trek. Okay. Snow-covered mountains, beautiful pine trees. Yeah. The one on Kasoli, you have tried well. But you can add a little more, like the warmth and the laughter. So around that part, you can add a little bit of more details, right? But otherwise, it's a good attempt at trying to use adjectives. I like the snow-covered and the what was the other one? Snowball fights and all of those. Okay, there's somebody who's written. Oh, that person has still snow-clad mountain. Somebody has a different use for the snow-covered. Snow-clad, even better. Good construction. Heavenly behavior. Heavenly behavior, okay for me. But it's a good attempt of trying to combine modifiers. So collocational usage always welcome when you want to write a good descriptive paragraph. Heartfelt gift, a very Indian English construction, but good attempt. That's also okay. Silken precision. What is silken precision? That carries the paper with silken precision. That every story
Ma'am,
has a
I
transient
actually forgot.
experience.
Ma'am, can
Ah.
we resubmit it? Like, I actually forgot to give the topic.
So forgot to do what? Sorry.
I forgot to give the topic.
The topic. That is all right. This is
Okay.
possessions only, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Lustrous 21K solid gold nib. Now this is an example of multiple adjectives in an order, right? That's good. Heartfelt gift, silken precision. Yeah, this one is a very nice attempt at it. So you have tried to include multiple. So is this a improved version? Did you make changes?
Sorry, ma'am.
Sorry. This question is to someone who. Just a moment. The one who wrote about this thing, no? What is this?
Ma'am, it is
Cherished
mine.
possession. Fountain pen.
Yes.
So this fountain pen thing, is this something that you wrote after the improvement, or is this the one before that?
It is
Did you?
my first version.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Technical work.
can you suggest
Yes.
any alternate of silken precision?
Alternative for silken precision. You can look up. So precision, you need to look around adjectives which are used along with precision, right? So something that comes to me is, but then depends on what your writing is about. So this is fountain pen, right? So it has basically, I think you're trying to say that there's a smooth outlet as you write with it. Right? That's what silken precision here meant, right? Smooth strokes. That's what it meant, I guess. So you can find anything that will suit that particular meaning, right? Smooth. Anything along
No,
the
I am just
any
trying
word.
to say that even though it is smooth, it feels the paper, so there is a little bit of feedback along with the smoothness.
Hmm.
So I am
Little
not
bit of.
able to put it correctly.
Okay, just a minute. Someone has submitted a response. I've lost your this. Yeah. So what was the second part of what you're saying? What is the second
Saying
part that you mentioned that?
yes, that even though it is smooth, but it is feeling the feedback on the paper along with the smoothness.
Hmm.
So I am not able to find the correct expression for it. So that's why I use silken position because the feedback feels precise and it is also smooth.
Huh. No, so that's what I meant to say, that anything that is associated with the feel. The feel is basically what you're talking about, a smooth feel, right? That is what you're trying to say. So anything related to this can be, so the silken can be changed to, I think a better way to write is silk-like precision, or you can say sleek,
Oh, okay.
right? Sleek is the word you can use, or you can say, what other words? Velvety, right? Some people use that as well. Velvety. Right? All of those words are good enough. There could be more, definitely. Of course, I cannot answer from the top of my head now. Some of them that come to me is that sleek, I know, because very commonly used these days. Then velvety is another example. Silk like, so change silken to silk like is also fine. And there'll be way more, way more. You can look it up. Just have the base word for you and then see which one fits your description bit. Okay.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah.
So, when I am writing such things,
Huh.
after going through my paragraph,
Hmm.
I marked out the words which feels that I am not able to express my feelings properly.
Hmm.
So, what is the way of editing them and correcting them and put
Huh.
the proper expressions?
Yeah. So the first thing is that you write them down in simple words. Okay. So forget about the adjectives and the modifiers and all for the time being. What you should be doing is that you write them down in more simpler words, right? Break it down into more simpler words. And once you have that basic, which is what I was trying to explain using the silken precision example. So the base meaning for that is that what you're trying to say is that there's a smooth feel to it, right? So come to that base word, break it down into that base word that you have, and then look for its synonyms, right? So synonyms, as you know, they don't mean exactly the same, even if they are called as words that mean the same as the thing. You know each word will have a different shade of meaning. So what you require is that base word, and from that whatever synonyms you get, look at each of them individually, and particularly look at the context in which you can use them, right? So that way you can take it up. And of course, as a writer, you have the liberty to add more adjectives to it, which will give you that precision. Oh, sorry, which will give you that accuracy of what you want to write, right? So club multiple adjectives. In case you think that one word is not able to explain what I want to say, you have the option to club multiple adjectives together. No, so you can use that option.
Okay,
Right?
ma'am. Another thing I want to ask. Uh,
Hmm.
um, how to use collocations in paragraphs or personal writing.
Hmm.
So, uh,
Collocations, see, because they are more specialized than your adjectives, no? They will have to be learned first of all actively through reading, right? Because all pairs will not qualify as qualifications. All adjective, noun, compound, or all verb adjective combination, sorry, adverb adjective combinations are not going to pass the test of collocation. Collocations are usually those combinations which are accepted as collocations because they appear frequently. Okay, so they appear together, these two pairs of words. So how to learn them? The only answer is that you read more. Okay, because only then you will get exposed to what are the commonly possible or allowed combinations of such words or collocations in the language, right? Some of them are quite popular, but then if you want to learn more about them, then reading is the only way.
Is there
Read the
any
other
other way?
formulas. Sorry.
Ma'am, is there any other way to learn collocation methodically,
No,
except by reading?
no. These things are very specialized elements in a language. So even if you learn it otherwise, so there is a collocation dictionary. If you wish to like learn it by heart, please do that. But this is not a technique that we suggest anybody because it's impossible. You cannot do that. You probably will identify it in some, text or paragraph, but then again, you will not know the use of it. So if retention is what your point is, then you will have to inculcate it through reading. There's no other shortcuts to it. Okay. It's just like learning idioms and phrases, right? So you just learning it from a phrasal dictionary will not help you. You will have
Yes,
to have a context.
I have a point. I like to read, ma'am. I like to read the classic text. So
Ah,
there is a language, there is
hmm,
a language gap between modern English and the
hmm,
classic text,
hmm.
which I am inclined to. So
Yes.
in this case, does my writing becomes weirder and archaic? But I have shown my writings to some of my friends, and they identify it to be a bit
Hmm,
weird.
hmm.
So
Ah, yes, because see, it's not weird. This is what you refer to as language change. So obviously, if you try to write in a language that Shakespeare used while he wrote his plays, obviously that is quote unquote non-fit for the age that we exist, right? A lot of words, because possibly these words have now either have had an extended meaning or they have had a reduced meaning or the meaning would have entirely changed. So this is a very natural process in language. So it's always advised to stay current, right? So you read classics, learn what you can from them, but keep your reading list diversified, right? Read, include from all the eras, and maybe
okay,
uh,
so I
keep
should
in
add a
mind.
little variety to
Yes, you should add variety and particularly choose varieties from what is written in the recent times, right? In the modern English, because you're going to communicate or your audience is going to be from this, right? So while you can use isolated expressions from the epics or the classics, do not make your whole language like the old English, right? Because clearly then it won't be accessible.
Ma'am, can you suggest some books which will be helpful to make up this gap?
Um, anything that is more trending, but make it a point that you read the articles in newspaper, but
I
read
am saying
longer
that
articles. Don't read
okay,
news. Okay,
okay.
because journalistic writing, especially when news reporting is done, no, that is done in a very different way. Although it gives you some amount of vocabulary, that is not enough for descriptive writing. So read the longer format writings, especially, there are people who write columns, and in that columns, choose everything. Read the art and creative section, read the fashion section, read the sports page. Actually, very helpful in providing you with very effective adjective coinages. So read a little non-conventional part of your newspapers, and about books. I mean, read anything. Read novels, read non-fiction books on, there are this psychology-based books and all these days. You could read all of those. Those could work as a good starter for this. Right?
How to,
Okay,
ma'am, how to advance in English writing skills?
You have to practice. Okay. Read and then practice. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, would you refer to some books?
Um, see, I can only refer to books that I read and that may not be suitable for you. So I am currently reading this very engaging and very intriguing novel called The Vegetarian. Right? It's written by this writer called Han Kang. Right? But then my choice of books are very different. So you probably will not find it interesting. But for
Okay.
regular reads, like I suggested, read the papers, but don't read the regular news section, right? That is not known to do anything good. It will give you some basic levels of English thing, but then if you're focusing more on the writing part, then you should read, like I was telling Samya Joy, that you keep it diversified, have variety in your reading. That is very important. So someone who doesn't read a variety of things will have a poor vocabulary, right? So if you're only going to read one kind of thing regularly, you will have good hold in that. You'll have a good command in that kind of that particular domain. But your overall vocabulary may not be very enriched, and for that you need to read everything, right? Give space and time to everything. Read a bit of fiction, read a bit of non-fiction, read something that is more formal. Keep it a mixed bag, right? Keep creative, writing also in your bag, right? Just for time pass, for leisurely purpose. So include all of that, and together this will enrich your vocabulary. So there's no one kind of reading that will do it for you. Okay, even reading maybe 1 hour every day of each of this is not everything. 1 hour of reading. Say you read fiction for the first 3 days, then one day you decide to take a break. You read some non-fiction, but whatever it is, keep the variety intact, and also do it consistently. Don't leave it midway through. All of that is going to enrich your vocabulary. One kind of thing, or once in a while reading something is not going to do the job, right? And even listening, if you watch, like, something, if you watch movies, or if you watch something like a podcast, that's also helpful. It's also not very difficult to do. Okay, it's just that they could be a little more time consuming than the other. So yeah, these are some of the things that you can do. All right, guys. Anything else that you want to ask, kind of pressing, or else
Um,
we'll wind up?
Ma'am, I just have a doubt. In the
Ah,
topic sentence,
ah.
like suppose, can we write the percentage, like can we write the topic first and then mention, like complete the sentence, or is it necessary to like write the topic at the end of the sentence in the like topic
No,
sentence?
nothing like that. You
It's
can
okay,
choose
ma'am.
whatever order you want. Yeah, it's okay. Any order is fine.
Ma'am, and
Okay.
also one more thing. In a
Yeah.
descriptive paragraph, like a formal one,
Hmm.
can we start it with a quote?
Can we start it with a quote?
Yeah, related to the topic, probably.
Yes, you can do that. So that is not essentially a part of your paragraph, but
Like,
it can
should
stand.
we write it at the start or the end? Like the quotes, basically.
Hmm.
Sometimes people write it in the end, and
Depends.
sometimes,
Depends. That is a very flexible thing. You can either include it in the beginning or at the end. But usually standalone paragraphs, unless it is at least say a page long, people would not add all that. No, usually for longer formats of essays, people do add quotations and all that. And in that case, you can either, quote it in the beginning or maybe at the end. There's no rule to that. It's flexible.
ma'am, so if you have to give like a introductory speech about yourself,
Hmm.
so
Yes.
like how do we
That
like
is that is again longer format. Definitely, you will have at least about 10 to 12 sentences, right? At least 10, 15
yes, ma'am.
sentences. So yeah, I
Like,
mean,
so what do we mention in that?
what do you mention in that in the
Yes,
sense?
ma'am. Like like I have no idea like how to write an introductory speech. I've never done that before.
Okay.
I only used to have the habit of telling my name and receive awards. So like I've never got the habit of actually giving introductory speeches.
So some of the
So yeah.
pointers could be, you look at the occasion. What are you going to talk about? Who your audience is? What you wish that people will know of you. So you will have to jot down. first of all, you will have to think about yourself, okay, before telling
Like
others. So
you're
that's
giving speech to your
Hmm.
like classmates because you want something. So at that time, what are the things you can include?
Because you want something.
Yeah, because you want something, and you're giving a speech in front of your like
Uh,
schoolmates, probably. Then
because you
how do
want
you
something means what? If you can elaborate that a little bit.
like any kind of Olympiad or something, and they ask you to like elaborate it, like your experience and stuff. So how do you start?
Uh,
Like
so is it, are you talking about a role or position or what is it?
um like just getting a rank in
Uh,
any Olympiad or something, and
uh.
basically trying to give a speech to your schoolmates.
So this is more like a, uh, just a second, just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. Hello?
Yes, ma'am. So like or just like generally introducing yourself, like I'm from so and so, but it's in a different destination, like um you passing out of your school and going to a new place. So then how do we like introduce yourself?
Sorry, that hello was not for you. I received a call. Okay. Uh,
um
sorry, yeah, come again.
Ma'am, so like if you're passing out of school and going to a new
Uh,
educational place like college or
it is
something.
like a valedictory speech. So that's not an introductory speech. You're
Okay,
giving basically a
valedictory speech.
valedictory speech. So
Ma'am,
you,
so like how do you start it and how do you conclude it? Like if you
so
could just
you
give me a sample of something, like a small
It's
one.
very easy. It's very easy. You can, first of all, you're going to talk about your experience as a student, and if you have filled in various roles, right? Say you have had some positions of responsibilities, like say a house captain, school captain,
Ma'am,
etc.
if you've not been
That
in
comes
anything like
last.
that.
Then it is easier because then you have no burden of telling about all that. You can.
Like how do you start it, for example? Like
Mm.
I'm not sure how to start it.
How to start it? You just introduce yourself. That's all. You say who you are, and or rather how you perceive yourself as. Okay. So there are different ways. It's
Okay.
not necessary that you always tell your name. You can even introduce yourself with the names that you're known by. Okay.
Okay.
So, or maybe give that as an additional part to it. Okay. And then
Okay.
go over um, narrating your experiences, only the relevant ones you think is exciting, and something that has a value addition to it, right? As in an
Okay.
experience that has shaped you into what you are, right? It could be funny or a humorous experience, but then at the end
Mm.
of the day, you should be able to say that how it shaped your personality. This is a valedictory speech, right? So it's also like a thank you speech. And so you talk about how this has happened and then how the school has played a role in it, or how your friends and everything, every element in the school has played a part in what you have become, right? So these are some
Okay.
of the points that you can use, right?
Mm.
Uh,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah. And also keep it short. Okay, it's a valedictory speech, so
Yeah.
do not like say too many things. So choose one thing that is most relevant and exciting, and then
Okay.
narrate about it. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Hmm.
Ma'am, do you have any examples? Like, do we get any examples in Google? Like, if we search it as valedictory speech?
Try checking it. I mean, you have the whole internet is yours now. You have multiple
No,
AI
ma'am, like,
assistants to
will
do
it
that
be
for you.
accurate? Like, sometimes
It will
actually
be.
speeches
Don't
do
worry
not be
about that.
accurate.
Don't
Okay.
worry about that. These kind of things, I don't think it can make a mistake.
No, ma'am, I
So,
actually have an experience of letter in the
really.
same way. That's why.
Okay. So, I mean, we should be careful. We need to read it through and check if it is, something that suits us. So, take the structure out of that, let it generate a content for you, and you make the edits to it.
Okay,
Okay.
ma'am. Hmm.
Yeah. Just don't take it directly and take it to your school, because that will
Yes, ma'am.
not help. Make
Hmm.
sufficient change, whatever is required, make some changes
Hmm.
to that and take it, right?
Okay,
Of
ma'am.
course, your personal experience, AI will not know. So you will have to supply it good prompts in order to make it better. So take a structure, take like a basic thing from that, and then add your details wherever it fits.
Okay,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Okay. Rest of you, we'll meet next semester if you take up English too. But for this semester, we are mostly done, except for the remaining Learn the Ropes sessions. So we won't have any other workshop. So thank you for patiently waiting until 7:32. Most of the soldiers have left the battlefield. So I think it's a call for us to uh, stop the session, at least for the time being, right?
Ma'am, I
So
have
thank you
one
for
question.
joining. What happened?
Thank you, ma'am.
Tell me.
Ma'am, I have one question.
What is your question?
Ma'am, I have started my paragraph with the line, "My trip was memorable." It's a 5-star one for me. So it is correct?
Sorry, what is the second part? It's a 5?
It's a 5-star one for me.
It's a 5-star one for me. Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. I mean, 5-star one for me, I think this is not a very commonly used expression. You can try to look for a better uh, phraseology there, right? So these are what we call as informal expression, right? So this is something that you would say, tell your friends or maybe your parents or relatives, but then writing a little more serious it is. So you'll have to use something that is universally accessible. The point here is not that you're wrong. The point is that when you write, the expressions and the words you use must be accessible, in the sense it must be understood by the person who reads. So if it is someone who's culturally and personally removed from your background, say someone like me, okay, I might read it and I would be stunned. I would not understand what a 5-star one for me would be, right? So again, if you're going to write for an audience who's suitable for that kind of expression, namely children, because they might understand what it is, then it's okay. But otherwise, try and use expressions that you think would be understood by a larger audience, right? And particularly people who understand and speak English. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am,
Yeah.
I have given a type of rating to it.
How you said 5-star rating, right?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
It's an informal expression. It's not a wrong expression. So again, like your context decides. If it is a more informal sort of a situation wherein you're talking about it. So see, whatever you've written about, right? This valuable possession and memorable trip. If you're talking about this, or if you're reading it out in a more informal gathering, then this is fine. But if it is like a submission for like say an essay contest or something, or some kind of a thing, then maybe this is not entirely right, because people may not understand. That's the point. People may not understand what it exactly means. So this could look a little vague and ambiguous for them, that expression. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. All right. I stop the recording now, and we'll wrap up the session. So see